I'm Rob Bromley along with Brian Milam, and welcome to this special edition of WKYT Game Time Wildcat Warm-Up. And for the next hour, we will break down the rivalry, the Cats and the Cards. Postseason honors coming out, and Kentucky's Adia Mathis is the SEC Co-Player of the Year along with Tennessee's Megan Simmons. For Mathis, the third year in a row she has won the honor. In her first season at Kentucky, she was SEC Freshman of the Year. Mathis is averaging 16 points, 4.5 rebounds per game for the Cats. Cats and the Gators here tonight, Lee K, and we look forward to it as Joker Phillips makes his return to Kentucky. He coached the Cats for the last 3 seasons. He is now the wide receivers coach down at Florida, but Kentucky has been such a big part of his life. He was a player here, an assistant coach, a coordinator, and then the head coach of the Wildcats. Earlier this week, Mark Stoops downplayed the whole thing as he talked about Joker. The UK women open play in the SEC tournament Friday. The second-seeded Cats will play the winner of Vanderbilt and Missouri. Against Tennessee, Coach Matthew Mitchell subbed freely as many as 4 new players at a time. He said today that he had a meeting with his bench players, and he's happy with the results.
Just thought that group had really been practicing poorly.
The 92nd annual Boys Sweet 16 tips off tomorrow. Madison Central and Wayne County play the opening game. Now, the Indians battled their way through the 11th region, claiming Central's 3rd championship under Alan Feldhaus. There have been some distractions with the region title, but now it's back to work.
I think they've enjoyed it, and I want them to enjoy it.
Vandy comes out, shoots the lights out. Selection Sunday is arriving, and the Cats could be on the outside looking in.
The good news is everyone else is losing too. So at the end of the day, it'll shake out, and I trust the committee to put the right teams in, and if we're in, we'll play better, and if we're not, we're not.
We will have the selection show for you right here on WKYT. Tournament starts next week. Rupp Arena is one of the sites. Fantastic time of year. In Nashville, Rob Bromley, WKYT. Well, both teams have stumbled this season as they work their way up to this big game, including a young Kentucky team that has missed 3 chances at some pretty good victories. The Cats open the season with wins in Rupp Arena over UNC Asheville and Northern Kentucky. That set the stage for a trip to Chicago and a showdown with Michigan State. The Cats number 1 in the country, Michigan State number 2. Kentucky trailed by 12 at the half. Julius Randle led a second-half comeback, finishing with 27. But the Spartans held on to win 78-74. Kentucky returned home and won 4 straight. It took a rally in the last 7.5 minutes to beat Cleveland State. From there, it was off to New York, where the Cats put together a solid game against Providence. Willie Cauley-Stein, 15 points, 9 blocks in a 79-65 victory. 5 days later, the Cats were down in Texas facing Baylor. With about 13 minutes to go, Kentucky let a 9-point lead get away and lost for the second time, 67-62. It was back to Rupp to get a much-needed win over Boise State. James Young, 21 points, including 4 threes. The first true road game came at North Carolina 2 weeks ago. Disappointing day for Julius Randle. Kentucky fell for the 3rd time, 82-77. Last weekend in Rupp, Aaron Harrison continued his strong play as the Cats bounced back against Belmont. Kentucky with a record of 9-3 with 1 game left in the year. The Louisville Cardinals open the season winning their first 4 easy wins on the home court before heading to the Hall of Fame tip-off tournament in Connecticut to take on Fairfield. There, Montrezl Harrell put together a double-double, running the winning streak to 21 games, including last season's run to the NCAA title. The next day, the 3rd-ranked Cards met 24th-ranked North Carolina for the tip-off championship. Russ Smith scored 36 points for Louisville, but Harrell fouled out with 7.5 minutes left. North Carolina forged ahead by 16. Carolina guard Marcus Page tossed in a career-high 32, and North Carolina handed U of L its first loss, 93-84. Rick Pitino's team returned home, defeating Southern Miss, Missouri, Kansas City, and then a 79-63 victory over Western Kentucky. Smith a double-double, 14 and 10. After routing Missouri State for their 10th win in 11 games, it was down to Miami to play Florida International. Louisville never trailed, Rick Pitino wasn't satisfied with his defense, but the Cards made it 6 in a row, 85-56, pushing the record to 11-1 on the season. The NCAA tournament underway and plenty of excitement in Rupp Arena this afternoon as Marquette had to rally against Davidson. Marquette was 9 down. 5 seconds left. Vanderblue took it and laid it in. Marquette, 3 seed, survives 59-58 over Davidson. So Marquette now plays Butler on Saturday. The tournament underway. The Louisville Cardinals will be on the court tonight, right here in Lexington. Brian Milam is live at the Civic Center. Brian? Thanks, Brian. 15 former Wildcats taking part in UK's annual Pro Day at the Nutter Fieldhouse this morning. 25 NFL teams on hand, plus Winnipeg of the Canadian League, scouting former Cats, and Larry Warford included. He worked out at the NFL Combine in Indy. His stock is soaring. Warford says he's been told he could be picked on day 1 of the draft.